Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps. It is I, your host with the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, joined alongside, as always, the best of the West. You cannot forget about Sara Marshall, back for another Raw Rewind. Sara, what's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
I feel like normally I would be like so happy about it. I'm just like, I'm so just.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Ayo is 2 words or 1 word, depends on how you text it, that I said a lot last night, and I'm not really in the mood for the witty and playful banter beforehand, because I've been thinking about this a lot at work. Okay, and I had a lot of time to think about it today since I was driving, delivering the product rather than trying to sell it, and I had a lot of time to think about what the hell is going on with WWE. And last night was a really, really bad symbol or foreshadowing or potential, whatever, to come with this whole, nonsense that's happening.
I agree.
I don't
I'm
get
holding my
it.
thoughts for now.
Yeah, I mean, David, I'm with you. I think this is just, usually we'd be like, oh, Raw, this was great. And we were like, before in the Raw rewinds, weren't we so excited afterwards? And we would talk about, oh, it was an A- and a B+, and we're arguing because of that, and now it's just, I really feel like, someone just went up with a needle to a balloon.
Yeah, I know. And that man is named Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I have a lot of feelings as well, so I don't want to, overshare right now. I want to stick to the script, because at least we will be sticking to the script and not be changing anything last minute in the Yard of Streams gorilla position. We're gonna stick to the script here, Sara. So, what do we have first? Okay,
well, how Raw started was Triple H coming out and lying to us.
Yeah.
So, at first he comes out and you knew what he was going to talk about, or at least I would assume most people knew that it was probably going to say something about the WWE sale. And then he added more to it, just thanking everybody for the success of Mania, that they're not going to be changing, that WWE is going to be then, now, here, forever. And some people, I thought it was interesting. They were taking it as like Triple H saying goodbye. I didn't get that feeling, but apparently some people did. I didn't, but I kind of wonder now, after having seen, obviously watching the entirety of Raw, I feel like it puts what he had to say more into perspective, where I kind of feel like it might have been not necessarily just a warning, but also him trying to keep us upbeat because he knew what was coming and he has no control over it. So it was almost like he was kind of trying to be reassuring, but obviously the rest of the show was just a complete shit show. So, and I was getting dragged on Twitter, by the way, last night for saying that was a Vince McMahon show. I was getting dragged because people were like, that's what just everybody says. That's what everybody says. And I'm like, I'm the first one to say that people have been saying that was a Vince thing. That was a Vince thing. And I've said everything that you don't like doesn't mean it's a Vince thing. And people were kind of acting like that towards me last night. And then when all of the confirmation came out like this morning, I was like, see, I told you. It was obvious.
It was obvious.
But we'll get into that when we talk about the Vince thing. But
I really enjoyed this opening segment. It really got me excited, and I was like, you know what? After the press conference, this man's got a vision. This man sees Cody losing at Mania as just, checkpoint. in this whole story. And I'm like, fine, I'm with it. And that's Triple H. And if it just, we got another comment too. It's just unbelievable. It's just insane to me how you can go out and have such a passionate speech like that and talk about how you smash records and broke, every single number on social media. It
Mhm.
just doesn't make sense to then have the rest of your 2.5 hour show, 3 hour show be what it was.
Should we just get into the Vince thing now?
I think it just, yeah,
Okay. It's just like
yeah,
organically, you kind of can't.
it's because it really ties in everything. It's
So,
just,
I saw Micah said that people felt like Triple H was saying goodbye. I didn't get that impression at all. I mean, I can kind of see why people maybe thought that it was, but I mean, I feel like Triple H is too far in this now and cares too much about the business and the wrestlers for him to just be like, okay, I'm annoyed with Vince, I'm leaving. I just don't see that happening. Like, I think he knows that if he left, that the situation would be far worse,
oh,
and
they would lose.
yeah, the company would become a joke. So, but as far as Vince goes, I was talking about this a lot online because, uh, it's like, it's I have so many thoughts, but it was obvious that it was a Vince booked show from the beginning. I don't care what anyone says. I think someone said that there was a total of 28 minutes of wrestling in 3 hours. That there was only a few minutes of wrestling within the first hour, which was commercial free, which was
I got so excited for the commercial
insane.
free. I got
Yeah.
so excited, and it was just another letdown.
Yeah, so I think I didn't calculate it. I just saw a lot of people saying it was 28 minutes of wrestling, which is again very much on trend with what Vince did. Not to mention every other second it was a segment of someone talking, or it was a video package, or then it was a backstage segment, then it was a video package, then it was an in-ring segment. It was like everything was a segment. And the part that doesn't make sense to me is Vince McMahon owns, or did own, I guess still partially owns, a wrestling company, a professional wrestling company. So why do you not like to let them wrestle? Like, why
Yeah.
are you so obsessed with segments? People didn't come there to see them talk on a microphone. Like,
Oh, if I like, that's the other thing I haven't even taken into consideration. If I was at that show, I'd be rip shit.
I'd be emailing wanting my money back, if I'm being honest, because I'd be like, I
Oh,
came and saw
we're
what
taking that we're taking
I
that
would.
step.
I would. If I go to a wrestling show, I'm not there to see 3 matches in 3 hours. Like,
It is what it felt like.
no, I think it was 3 or 4. I'm not That's not a joke. That's literally all it was.
But
It was
yeah,
Omos and Elias, the Street Profits and Kevin Owens, which was fine. It
still,
was
yeah.
the Liv Morgan Raquel versus Damage Control, and then Lashley and like Mustafa Ali. It was like that was it.
Yeah,
Because then we didn't even get a main event. So,
and
and
that pissed me off a lot, because, and everyone, you could have people say, well, that's typical Brock Lesnar, but no, it's
well, let's not
not.
let's not do that yet.
Oh, okay.
We're going to talk about the main event separately.
Sorry, I
But
got it. I
no,
got
it's
it.
fine. I understand.
You,
So for people who are not aware of everything that Vince had to do with this, first of all, Vince was in Gorilla all night. Vince had his own office, which is something that he had before he retired. He has an office in the back again. Um, Minutes before and within, as the show was going on, he cut matches, including 2 women's triple threats, and he added in the Omos versus Elias match. And then he added, I don't know, I think it was the women's tag match, which is the most bizarre thing. And I think this went over people's heads. Why are now Liv Morgan and Raquel, who just lost at WrestleMania, getting a tag team championship opportunity next week? The whole point that we were being sold of the women's tag match at Mania was to become like the number 1 contenders. So why did Ronda win and Shayna win? Like, that is Vince booking. Bailey was cut last second out of coming out with Damage Control in their match.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. So he cut that. The whole Brock Lesnar thing and him going off the rails, flipping off the camera, that was so for Vince McMahon. I don't care what anyone says. He knows that he's not supposed to cuss on live TV, and he did for like a whole 5 seconds. So just swearing up a storm in the ring. Comes back out, knows you're not supposed to flip off the camera on live TV, did that shit anyway. Like, it was just such a mess from beginning to end. Plus, the Seth segment was cut short. That wasn't supposed to be all that he did. There's video of him in the ring during the commercial. And people are there's crew telling him that like you got to go fast, like this is what you're doing. You can see in another angle that a guy's telling him to like wrap it up and like leave. It was a fucking mess, dude. Like and it's just like you don't even have to see news about the frustration that people are having. It was obvious. You could tell Seth wasn't happy. You could tell most of them weren't happy. So
I saw a Fightful report that morale hit like
Yep.
an all-time low.
Yeah, I watched I watched a good chunk of their live stream last night with Sean and Denise. Yeah, so it's already bad. There's already wrestlers that have at least contacted people allegedly, I'll say allegedly, that are saying like if Vince sticks around that they might ask for their release, including a top talent. So I just the only hope that I have, which someone made a good point, was that Vince was already in town for WrestleMania. So for him to be at Raw, it's like, okay, sure. Maybe it was just a one-off thing because he was already in LA, so he was there for Raw. But if he travels for SmackDown to Portland, Oregon, or if he's there next week in Seattle for Raw, that's the end. Like you can't deny that he's not pulling the strings because there would be no legitimate reason for him to be at either show, but especially next week. There's no reason. But
it just made none of the show made sense to me at all.
It didn't feel, there was nothing that played into what happened over the weekend. Other than like Theory being like, I beat John Cena. Okay.
And he like hammered it home like way too much.
Again, though, remember he was a product of Vince. So I mean, remember what his character was before he got this this makeover. So my thing is, and you kind of mentioned it, was that they mentioned a lot about the outpouring of love on social media during WrestleMania and how it was like the most interactions that they've had ever. And they're just citing all of these good things that happened from WrestleMania. I would really, really, really hope that their social media team or Triple H himself or the Endeavor people are letting them know that literally every single top trend on Twitter last night was about how bad Raw was. I mean, even when it was like, it was, I don't know, midnight my time almost. I think I went to bed at like 11:30
midnight your time,
11:30 my time, which would have been 2:30 your
I'm
time.
asleep. I was asleep at that point.
Every trend was still about how Raw was bad. It was like Vince McMahon, Raw was the worst. Like it was all of these things that were just about Raw. So I'm like, someone needs to bring their attention to this because this should matter specifically to the Endeavor people because you just bought this company. You enabled this man. You gave him back a title. You let him back into the company and gave him power. And this is what he produced for you.
Yeah,
like
that's a makes
big
absolutely
yikes.
No sense.
Yeah, big yikes. So it's one of those things that like I have already said that if Vince is there next week and we hear that he's on Raw or he's there, I'm 100% willing to just check highlights and check Twitter for what's happening on Raw. Like I'm that dedicated to just checking out because I'm not going to sit there and like support anything that they're doing if Vince is calling the shots again, because that's ridiculous. You don't just leave and think that people are going to forget about your sexual abuse allegations, think that now it's a wash because your company was bought. Fake taking responsibility on live TV also lying about how involved you're going to be, and then continue to push the bullshit that you want on TV that everyone hates after seeing a massive increase in sales, viewership, ticket sale, like everything, merchandise sales, like rock skyrocket numbers,
Yeah.
and you decide to put that shit out.
Yeah,
No, I'm not.
I don't get how you watch the past 4 months, 5 months of wrestling and then go that route. Like
Because he
I
has a
don't.
one track mind. How Vince wants to do it is
But
how
the
Vince
thing is,
wants
like,
to do it.
you're gone. Like, I understand. Okay, and this is where I draw the line: is let him come back to make the sale. I get to make the sale. It's
That's what they
business.
said. That's what they said originally. That's what he said originally. That was
But
basically the only reason he came back.
and if
And
it's
that was a
for him
lie.
to just make money because his company, like, fine, make your money. I don't. That's not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
But don't come into the creative side of things and legitimately sink the ship.
Hmm.
Like, I use this example a lot, and it may be a little bit different, but there are a lot of similarities that um my dad's worked at a place for 50 years, pretty much built it from the ground up, so there is similarities there. They both worked a ton. They're work minded, work first, whatever, and I grew up in the business, whatever. And this year he's like, you know what, I'm walking away from it. I'm gonna step down from my 6 days a week, and he went to three.
Hmm.
When he went to three, he didn't want to go three at first. He was gonna go cold turkey. And it was like, okay, that's great, but he would get bored. Totally
Right.
get it. I'm the
Hmm.
same type way. So he went to 3 days. And when he goes into work, he's just there. He's just working. He's just himself. Like, he's not trying to do too much. He's not trying to, reinvent the wheel.
Hmm.
It's just to get me out of the house and just keep pushing it because I love it. How is Vince not of that mind? Like, how do you not have that mindset after this long of time? And the other element of it is like, how do you not see the improvement? And if you don't get it, so what? It's
Well, you have to
okay.
remember he's going to feel spiteful of that. He's going to be
Then
pissed off that it's been as good as it has been with him gone. That's going to piss him off
it is, but
because
that's the wrong reaction.
I know, but this is Vince McMahon we're talking about.
I
Like, this
know,
isn't shocking anymore. Like, this is
but
just
what
who he
shot?
is. This is a man who brought in the NWO and buried them because he was pissed that he didn't create them. So, like, this is like the same thing. He's pissed that Triple H did so well in his absence that he's willing to just be like, all right. Because the thing is, too, that's crazy is there's nobody who can stop him. Like, I almost wish that Triple H would just tell him to piss off, or at least just like tell the talent, don't listen to him, listen to what I'm telling you. Because, like, I know that I can't imagine that that would be easy to do. And I'm not saying that, but it's just so ridiculous at this point. And it's clear everyone was saying that when he unexpectedly retired, that they knew it was temporary and it wasn't real. He was still checking in and he was still around. He just wasn't wanting to be seen by anybody until he got closer to a sale. And obviously, the first several companies that were showing interest in him said they didn't want Vince, that they were only interested in the company if Vince was not going to be involved. Hence why they didn't sell the company to those people, because Vince said no. Vince wanted to be a part of the company. Endeavor is making sure that he's a part of it. He's on their website as, like, a chairman. So, I mean, I don't understand how you don't take a hint that your own fucking family didn't want you, that they all voted against you, that you had to manipulate and weasel your way back into the company by firing people that didn't want you there, by bringing in yes men so that you could get back in there, and, like, using your power to maneuver around the rules to get what you wanted. Like, how do you think that that's creating a good atmosphere? Not to mention, Triple H is your son-in-law. I can't imagine how difficult of a relationship that must be, with Stephanie leaving because you're such an asshole, and Triple H trying to take over in your place, which you groomed him to do, and then you don't even trust him enough to let him do it. It just boggles my mind. Like, I'm not surprised. It's just like, it's very frustrating
It's
because
honestly sad.
it is. It's
It's
just
sad. At the end of
it's
the day, it's sad.
and I don't know what happens from here. Like I don't know what they can do to make it better. I think at this point, the sale isn't final. So I was saying to some people last night, why doesn't just WWE or why doesn't Endeavor just back out? Rescind your offer. Be like, if this is the shit you're gonna put out attached to our name, we're not doing this, or at least threaten it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the sale, they haven't signed on the dotted line. There is no sale. They only announced that it was like, it's going to happen. But I think they said they have until like February of 2024 to sign or something. But if I were them, I think they're the only ones who will be able to maybe put Vince in his place. I think they're the only ones because they're the ones who gave him the title. They're the ones who will let him back in and have enabled his behavior. So that's the only way that I can. And as investors, you need to make sure that they're putting out a good product because now your name is attached to that. So if people are complaining and they're saying this is horrible, I'm not going to watch, viewership dips, merchandise sale dips, whatever, that's on you now. That's not just on
It
Vince.
is. I read today the Boston Globe put out an article. My dad had me read that it says the Endeavor is 51% owners and Vince. So the only hope that I see from this is that you get Endeavor to side with, Triple H and be like, yeah, this is not it. Like, what happened? This man was running your company and you were record everything. Everyone wanted to come work for you again. And now you're putting on, and after one night, you literally have everyone saying, what the hell is this?
Well,
And,
because then it
and the
looks
thing
like
is,
you sold them a false can of goods. You know what I mean? Like it looks like you try to make the shows look really, really good just so that you could sell the company and then go back to utter shit afterwards. Like I would be like, this is not what I signed up for. You don't
yeah,
put out that type of product to just like cozy up to me and make me feel good to buy your company, and then you start doing that. Absolutely not.
yeah. No, it's just,
It's just it's so disappointing for some. Like I hadn't really been paying attention or watching WWE for a few years, and then once I heard that Cody was coming back last year, that's when I started paying attention and watching every single week again. And so it's really deflating to be only a year later and be in this situation after feeling like we finally had won, like our voices were being heard, we were getting what we wanted.
So would this make you start watching like AEW?
No, probably not. I probably
I
would
think
just
you got to give it a chance. I think at this point we got to give AEW a chance because
well,
it's a
but
better product.
yeah, I don't know. I think I know for sure that I'd probably be willing to just check highlights of Raw and SmackDown. Like I wouldn't sit here and watch it. I would watch highlights for the people that I care about, like see what the latest is happening with Cody or something. And that sucks. But like I don't want to give this company my money if you're having Vince run it and it's an absolute shit show. I'm not doing it because that's just ridiculous. You don't because then it's also like it's not just fooling the investors, it's fooling your fans. And I think that's unfair and it's not right. You don't do that. And so I'm just really disappointed. What?
These comments are just like what
Sorry, I
hold
don't have
on.
them up. I don't have
I'm
them up.
gonna give them up. We have no AEW is boring. That's
Oh.
the complete lie. It is not boring. That's not the word I would use. They have no
Well,
larger than
it's
life
just his
superstars.
opinion.
No larger than life superstars. You have MJF, John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli is basically a real life superhero.
Well, and I'm in love with him. So
I mean, Kenny Omega is the greatest wrestler on God's green earth, everywhere. Doesn't matter the promotion.
well, maybe this
Young
is
Bucks.
just Micah's opinion.
No captivating storylines. Oh
I
God,
mean, I mean,
what are you talking about?
I can't say that all that. I can
No
say that
captivating
I do think they
storylines.
have a lot of cringiness, and I don't think John Moxley is that great. I think he's kind of overrated at this point,
Oh,
but
I think he's exactly what pro wrestling is.
I think he's exactly what I don't care about, and I think is incredibly
That's
lame.
so
But that's
sad.
okay.
That is,
I don't care about a dude who likes to cut himself and bleed in every match and then lick people's blood every single, like, I just don't care. I was
it's
never
yeah.
into hardcore wrestling. And for me, like, at this point, because we don't get that type of wrestling really anymore, um I also think that they used to bleed too much. Obviously, they were cutting themselves, so like they would bleed too often. That now it just feels like you should only bleed if one, it happens naturally, or two, it like goes with what you're doing. Like I feel like it should be used sparingly. It shouldn't be something that you do every match. Like I just think that's just kind of lame. Like it's kind of like, you know, when you watch like a movie or a TV show and there's just sex scenes like every 2 seconds, and it's like this doesn't add anything to the movie other than the perverts, you know what I mean? But like it adds nothing to the story, so why are we watching this? That is like how I feel about it. But you know, I am a
The,
female, so maybe that's
the
why. I don't know.
Acclaimed, dude. Everybody loves the Acclaimed, Micah.
Well,
Scissor me, daddy ass.
okay, anyway, don't even, I can't. All right, so
Why
let's
you gotta
break
watch it?
down certain things about Raw.
Yeah, we'll stick
So
to the script here,
yeah, so
Vince.
Seth Rollins, I thought it was a very weird segment. It was very weird that he started in the back with an interview and then came out and just had them all sing. But now seeing the context of it, I guess that they just didn't let him finish what he was supposed to do, which I have no idea what that was supposed to be. But there is some videos of Seth in the ring during the commercial break where they're all talking to him and telling him that he needs to end it soon. Or even when he was just standing there, they were telling him like get out of the ring and like leave. Which, if to me, it's hilarious because then when you see the rest of the show, the progression of the show, Brock Lesnar was done beating the crap out of Cody with 4 minutes left. So then that's why all of like, you know, obviously they were going to have the medical personnel and Adam Pearce and all of them come out and be like, "Oh my god," you know, but that's why Lesnar came back out and made it seem like he was going to come back out and do something, and then threw up the middle fingers because it was like, yeah, dude, you finished way too early. So it's just kind of weird that then they were like worried about Seth's segment running too long. Um, and someone else made a good point too, that um they actually just let the audience sing the song this time organically, but at Mania they piped in the fake singing noise, which was weird. Like why wouldn't you have just trusted that the audience was going to do it? That was kind of weird. But
I thought it was weird too. It was like the whole segment was weird because he came back. I thought they were gonna get the whole entrance thing. Then he's just standing in the middle of the ring, just doing this, and then
yeah,
walks out. I was like, okay, like interesting. We're
it was
going with
very on
that.
brand, I feel like, for Vince too, because he didn't mention Logan. And I think it's because Logan's technically not contractually obligated to
Yeah, and
be in
he hates that.
WWE. So that seems very Vince like. Like you can't talk about someone who's not in the company anymore. They don't exist if they don't work here.
They're not in the WWE universe.
Yeah, but it was just the most bizarre thing, and I'm kind of curious, like, what was he supposed to do if that wasn't it? Because I feel like maybe it would have been a little bit better if we knew what he was going to do, but otherwise it just seemed very random and very like trying to fill for time instead of doing a match, because Vince hates wrestling matches apparently, you know,
He doesn't like wrestling matches on free television.
which is just like, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah, it's a paradox.
and
Nonsense, Sarah. It's absolute nonsense.
what else was nonsense was the fact that Matt Riddle came back.
This
That was
was, without a doubt, the biggest slap in the face the entire night.
what. Well, first of all, too, okay, this is what I was thinking about. Is Nick Khan hyped up WrestleMania and Raw after Mania like no other? Like, you guys are in for a lot of surprises. This is going to be so great, blah, 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 right? Nothing really happened at Mania that I feel like was like a shocking surprise, other than, you know, Cody didn't win, which some people are feeling, which I feel like that could be something we could dive into at a different point. People feel like that wasn't meant to be the result, that Roman wasn't supposed to win, that Cody was supposed to win, which I think would be interesting to kind of like I don't know, have that discussion with you about if you feel like maybe that was a last minute change, maybe it was a Vince change because Vince is the reason why he had 2 titles. Anyway, we'll get into that in a second. But there was really no surprises, you know, there wasn't an impromptu LA Knight thing. Bobby Lashley didn't get a match, Bray Wyatt didn't come back. There weren't any surprise returns, debuts, nothing. So there was okay, that means the Raw after Mania. All of these rumors about the potential returns, debuts, all this and that, absolutely nothing except for Matt Riddle against The Miz. Like, are you kidding? And what I loved, though, first of all, he got barely any pop. I don't know if you noticed, but it was like very weak for a
I couldn't
guy.
tell over my laughing. I was
Yeah, no,
laughing too
it
hard.
wasn't that big at first. Like when his music hit, it was like, oh, like people were kind of collectively like, oh wow, you know. And then they did the bro, whatever, right? But when he won the match, it was like very quiet. And I was like, can you do this shit every week? Can you just be like this every week, crowds? Because like
Yeah.
just let him go away. Just let him go away. But
Okay.
apparently this is his last chance. So if he messes up, then he's done. So
Mess up how? I mean, he walks out and
he was a cokehead.
No,
So
no, no. I'm saying no. I get that. I'm saying how mess up if the crowd's not even into you.
well, in that, yeah. So I meant like if he messes up, like
Yeah. That's but
test positive or something. But yeah, if they're not into him, they're just
like,
gonna attach him to somebody else, like what they
but
did when
no one wants to
Randy.
be attached to him.
Well, I know he was attached to fucking Elias before
Have
he
you seen
left.
the video of him forgetting his lines during
Yes,
an?
with Oscar. Yeah, because he was high.
Yeah.
He was high. No, I'm saying so they're giving him one more chance. That's why I mean they waited quite a bit after his rehab stint for him to come back cuz he's been done for like months. So this was his return, I guess. But yeah, he's on a short leash from what I've been reading.
As he
But I
should.
am curious to see like if he doesn't really get a reaction. I would assume they'll try and pair him with someone because he's definitely not needed in NXT, nor is he like a. I mean, he was over in NXT, but I wouldn't say he was like Johnny Gargano, you
No,
know, like
no, he was over as a crowd favorite.
yeah, but
Let's leave
like
it at that.
I just don't know like what are they going to do if he still just continues to not really get the reaction that they were hoping he would get. I don't know, but it kind of made me laugh because I was just like, yeah, no one cares.
Nobody
No,
cares about Matt Riddle.
I'm wondering if maybe I would like to see the reaction like maybe next week on Raw because maybe I mean maybe I'm just trying to be nice. Maybe the reaction wasn't that great because people were hoping for bigger surprises than Matt Riddle. Like people were hoping for Jay White or people were hoping for Randy Orton. People were hoping for Matt Cardona. Like they were hoping for these other people that they would have been more excited about. And it ended up being Riddle. So maybe that impacted their reaction a little bit because they were disappointed. Or it was genuine that they just didn't care. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But
Let's wait and see for that one.
yeah. So that was just a mess. And then we have what's going on with the bloodline. So they started Raw, didn't get to say anything. Cody comes out, you know, they do whatever. The Usos are not with him, it's just Solo. And then Paul Heyman sends home the Usos and he's like looking weird about it. Then later we see a segment. It was like over an hour later where Roman's like, "Are they gone?" It's like, dude, it was hour ago that Paul told them to leave. Like, why are you just asking that now? And then when they were coming out for the main event, did you notice that Paul kept turning around? Like he kept like looking behind them. Did
No,
you? Okay, so
I'm
people were
not
like,
that
"What's he
observant.
doing?" I was like, "He's probably looking to see if the Usos are coming, at least, or maybe Brock. I don't
Yeah,
know, but
giving
yeah,
you
maybe,
know, the feeling. Okay,
yeah."
'cause that's why he's a
So
pro. That's why he's the
I
best.
I'm interested to see where this goes. This was a dynamic that had talked about anyway because the Usos lost their titles, so maybe Roman wants nothing to do with them now.
That's my and I will give Raw its only thumbs up with the bloodline. It's the only thing that made it, I would say, watchable for the majority out there. Because the bloodline still is the best story in wrestling, even when Vince was running it. It's still the best story in wrestling. Um, so right now with the bloodline is that we're getting, the Usos, they're going away and going to do their thing where they find themselves, or, they finally realize that Roman is a master manipulator.
Mhm.
And because of that, they're going to do stuff on their own. Maybe they're on SmackDown and doing, or whatever. It doesn't matter how you do it. But the point is that they're going to be gone for a little bit. And during this time, you're going to have Solo get
Mhm.
all the hype because he's an ass kicker and
Mhm.
he is the enforcer. And this is why the bloodline still remains at the top of wrestling, because you still have an element of it of with Solo.
Yep.
Like, no joke, like Solo it keeps the bloodline going, where
Mhm.
then you can have a final culmination of everyone turning and whatnot, so you can play it out. And I think that last night was like a good way to start it out, especially with Solo just sitting there not saying anything. Still hasn't said anything really, except like, I acknowledge you.
Mhm.
So I
Well, and
just
that's why I said I wouldn't be surprised if Solo's the one who eventually dethrones Roman, because it seems more intriguing this way, because it seems like he wouldn't be the one to do that. I think I have a we have I have to cut that clip, I think. Or maybe I have it cut, but I'm going to be posting that tomorrow. And then I do have a YouTube short that's going to come out about
nice.
it, I think. So look for that. But yeah, no, I'm interested because yeah, I think this is the only like consistent storyline that they're continuing with post Mania. That's like it's the only thing that's consistent,
That's just so insane to me. It's
isn't it?
so insane to me.
And so intertwined with that was Cody asking for a rematch. They said no. They said that you can get a tag partner. He gets Brock Lesnar. And I was shook because everyone was like, when was the last time that Brock Lesnar had a tag match on Raw? And it's been like since what is 2004. And then they said his last match ever, a tag match ever, was on my first show ever in February of 2004. That shook me. I was like, what are the chances? Because someone asked someone, a wrestling person that I follow, like a wrestling news person, when was his last overall tag match? And they said it was at a SmackDown show where he teamed with the Big Show against John Cena and Eddie Guerrero. And I was like, was this in 2004? Because I think I was at that show. I was like,
That's
there's
insane.
it like what are the chances? You know, because I was like, wait, I was like, unless they did that multiple times, which I don't recall them doing multiple times. I was like, I was at that show. And then yeah, someone was like, it was the go home show to No Way Out, which what used to be in February. So I
Mhm.
was like, oh my God, that's the show that I went to and almost started sobbing because John Cena wasn't gonna be on the show, and I was very upset about it. Um, so yeah, I think a lot of people were actually looking forward to this match.
I'm sorry,
Uh,
I've been blanked out for a second. What
I said I think a lot of people were actually looking forward to this match.
Me included.
Yeah.
Me included. I was so excited for this match. You have Brock and Cody like arm in arm with one another, like laughing. I thought we were gonna get fun boombox Brock, and then eh, what the
It,
fuck,
it
dude?
seems like a Vince thing because he's been living that life recently. Been all fun. I mean, remember
Awesome.
his segment with MVP? That was
Good
funny.
evening, Orlando.
Yeah, like
Like,
exactly. Like it was so funny. So, in hindsight, it's like, oh, we should have known that he was going to do that. And a lot of people predicted it. I saw them on Twitter being like, oh, he's just going to turn on him, right? Even my sister said it to me, like, oh, he's probably going to turn on him. And I was like, I don't know. But he was kind of going above and beyond what he needed to do, like being buddy buddy with Cody. But I was like, that falls in line with what he's been doing, which has been very like chummy and smiley and over the top and like fun Brock Lesnar. So I was kind of disappointed that this happened. Um, but kind of like how we said about our reaction to Cody losing at Mania kind of changed a little bit once we listened to Triple H in the press conference. my initial thought was this is I do think Vince was probably behind him turning heel Brock because there was no reason for it. Um and it seems like yeah, they're doing the beating down of Cody Rhodes to build him back up. And that's the story. Even people were making guesses of like maybe he's going to have to go through all like a ton of Roman's opponents before he can get his hands on Roman again and whatever. I don't know, but I'm concerned, I guess, about the state of the undisputed championships and what they're going to be doing with him and those titles and how Cody falls into that and like and now he's just going to have some random feud with Lesnar. Like I don't know how I feel
I
about
don't
that.
get it. I don't. I saw one of the comments here. I think after the segment we should read some comments.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I don't look at them because
That's fine because some of them just I get confused. Whatever. Point is that one of the comments said that as I'm looking for it, we'll find it later. Why not have Cody win and then his first opponent is Brock Lesnar?
well, and that's why I said there were people who feel like Cody was supposed to win. But
Like, yeah.
I mean, everything felt like that. And maybe that was, maybe people feel that that was what was supposed to be because of how it just seemed so obvious and it seemed like everything was working in that direction. And maybe we were duped. So maybe people think, oh, that seems what it was. Like, I don't think that they don't have any substance to back up, oh, I think Cody was supposed to win and they just changed it last minute.
Yeah.
Um, but I honestly, now knowing that Vince was involved, especially with night 2, I would not be at all shocked if Cody was supposed to win and he changed it because he made Roman this double champion. But
it's just mind-boggling to me that someone could just be like, yeah, we're gonna change it. Like he's the way he does things. Like
I know.
I don't get like the control thing. It's just I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it, and it's okay. And for him not to understand something, it's the end of the world. So
Yeah.
I just
Yeah. So it's just yeah, it's a hot mess right now. Did you want to get some questions?
yeah, let's read some
Okay.
comments here.
Okay. Or comments, yeah, sorry.
Um hold on, I'm gonna start from because we have a lot. I mean, we'll
Thanks
start.
for all the
Yeah,
comments and stuff, guys.
yeah, really, thank
Yes.
you because that's really cool. See the
Yes.
comments here today and
So Micah says, let younger people run the show, Vince. Exactly. You were
not include
literally
more.
grooming Triple H to be your successor and Stephanie, and then you let Stephanie leave because you're a jerk. It's stupid.
I couldn't agree more, David. When it comes
David,
to AEW and Ring of Honor, like
are you
and
going to
New
read this?
Japan, even GCW, I'll give him credit because I love Nick Gage. I saw the Dark Side of the Ring. Um, it just it's a wrestling show, and the story doesn't have to be just talking back and forth. Like you tell a story with your moves in the ring or your interactions. Like they just get it, and it's just a different talent. It's just
Well, also, you've owned a professional wrestling company for how many decades? This isn't brand new. If you want to do movies, then go to movies. If you want to do soap operas, do soap operas. Like if you want something that doesn't need it, that doesn't require literal action or athletic abilities being shown on television, then go do something else because this is not, we don't sign up, we don't watch every single week to watch people talk on the microphone for 3 hours. That's not why we're watching at all. It's probably the least thing that we are looking forward to. So
Lashley and Alley went for 21 seconds
yeah,
to just that just
to me
hammers
that's,
home your point.
and it
Hammers home
again,
your point right there.
Ali asked for his release under Vince and was denied it. So does this shock you? This was like,
Oh, wait, he did. Oh, then
yeah,
now I know why he got his ass fucking kicked last night. I was like,
yeah.
geez, who did he piss off? Like, I actually was like, what the hell
Vince. Yeah,
happened?
he asked for his release and
Oh,
Vince said no. And then he was talking a lot on Twitter and stuff. So
could we see the release of this
no, that's not
wrestler?
true.
Oh, it's not true. All right,
No.
good.
According to Fightful, PW Insider, no talent has asked for the release. So
Yeah, I feel like I will say this. I think after one show, talent asked for the release is like that's ridiculous.
Bailey's the Triple H product,
She'll
and
be fine.
also I think that she's one that would stick around. I think a lot of people are just taking her cryptic tweet after WrestleMania for for more than what it is. It could mean nothing. I mean, even Asuka alluded to something about going back to Japan. So it's like Asuka's not going anywhere, and no
Not
one's
going
concerned about that. But you're concerned about Bailey, like.
We had a lot of good ones here.
All right,
Kenny Omega is a god, David.
all right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Don't you dare.
I stand another KO, and his name is not Kenny Omega. So
Okay, me too.
okay, but that's my
But
KO.
Kenny Omega is a wrestling
Sure,
god.
whatever you want to say.
JBL is a faux god.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Jared Rio, he said he was disappointed with Raw because it didn't follow the normal. Well, it didn't.
It's because it was Vince. It was Vince
Structure.
McMahon, and it was that imposter Addams Family father.
He literally looks like Super Mario has just been done with dealing with Peach's shit.
He looks like he's a mix of like Mario and Waluigi.
Yeah.
Because Waluigi has that really skinny mustache.
Wish you had a pencil thin mustache. Any Jimmy Buffett people here? No?
No.
Okay. That's so false that AEW will become watchable again when CM Punk returns. No, it won't. Because it's
imagine okay, I'm sorry guys. I'm gonna be a little harsh here, but imagine being a fan of CM Punk in 2023. Ooh.
I'm even off that bit. After you don't come at the elite. He did that. Charge cut. Nope. Only we had some good ones here.
Also, peace and love to everyone who still likes CM Punk. I just don't get it.
Why
Dana Brooke? Why is Dana Brooke still on the roster if she's not involved in any storylines? I don't know. There's plenty of people in the back that are still not involved either. It's like I don't understand it, but
NXT.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dana Brooke could be someone that could benefit from that, but she's also like, NXT. But she's also someone who was never really there, and she's like, isn't she older? Like, isn't she older than me? I don't know, but
older than you?
Yeah,
could be.
But I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've always
34.
wondered. Okay, so just a little bit. But I always question this anyway when they just have people sitting in the back, like literally doing nothing every week. I don't understand the point because, like, even if you think about pro athlete, like their rosters, they don't keep people around that literally do nothing. So it's very weird to me. But I mean, at least she still has a job, I guess.
That's true. We had some other ones here. Why are people liking Matt Riddle? Like, what do we
get out of here? No, I'm just kidding.
What's up? This is still SmackDown. That is so true, Jared.
But the only thing is they don't ever do anything for SmackDown post Mania. It's never like a hyped up thing. And that's why I said if Vince is there
we're screwed
in Portland, then yeah, the end is near because there's no reason for him to be going to SmackDown. It's so weird because like if I still lived in Washington, I'd be going to the SmackDown and I'd be going to Raw. But I'm not. So
I agree with this Kingdom of Razor. The problem with WWE is the time that he drops the title, no one is going to care. Every story must come to an end. The damn story peaked. It did peak because it's not like to me that it didn't end there. You could have still had the bloodline go till next WrestleMania.
I think the peak was Cody. I think the Cody story of the momentum that Cody had is like dead and gone because of WrestleMania. I don't think that the bloodline and Roman peaked at Mania because did you hear that heat last night?
It was bad.
People hate his guts right now because of that, which is exactly what they needed, right? Like if we're gonna hype up the fact that Cody lost, if we're gonna try to look at the positives of it, Cody is the biggest baby face in the company right now because people are like, oh my god, it's like we're gonna keep seeing comparisons to him and Daniel Bryan. It's exactly like the same thing. It's like the build up to make Daniel Bryan this untouchable force, and hopefully Cody's going in that direction as well. If this is the route that they're taking, I think that when he's dethroned, it's going to become satisfying because I think it's going to be a bloodline member that dethrones him, and I think people are going to be super behind that. And that's going to get people to hate Roman. The problem that I have, which we were going to talk about when these were the comments were done.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is that Roman is said to still be taking time off. So he's supposed to still be on a limited schedule post Mania, and his, I believe, next advertised appearance is SummerSlam. So hopefully he's not gone for the next 5 months, because I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But he's not scheduled to be at Backlash. He's not scheduled for Money in the Bank. Like, he's not scheduled for anything. And obviously things can change. But given the fact that he's barely done anything over the last several months, he's wrestled twice or 3 times this year, basically. Like at every pay-per-view, basically. I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone all that time, but that's the problem that I have. This is why, if that's the plan, then you should have taken the titles off of him, because that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't understand the whole part. Like I don't get it. Like, I don't get what you're doing. If he's not going to appear, he's not going to be on shows, he's not going to fight, he couldn't even get a goddamn tag match with Solo on Raw. It's just stuff like that I just don't get.
I mean, I don't blame him for not wanting to be there every single week if all they're going to have him do is some backstage segment with the Usos. Like, I get it. Like, I wouldn't want to be going all over the country just to be sitting in the back for 5 minutes for a 5-minute segment. Like, I get it. But that's why you need to be doing more matches, brother. Like, then demand it or something.
Yes.
It's not like you don't have pull. You're fucking John Cena at this point. You have pull.
You're Roman. You're the tribal chief.
Exactly. So it's like you can't act like, oh, this is just my life. It's like, no, you can ask, you can say, I need to be put in matches. And that's the thing, is like, Roman seems like a really nice guy. Like, when you watch him out of character on talk shows and stuff like that, he seems like a really nice guy.
Oh, he's awesome.
And then you see the mix of like how he is as a character, and sometimes he's so good at it that it's hard to believe that it's not who he really is,
Yeah.
But no, they need to do something, because I we've talked about it on here before, that USA Network especially has expressed their disappointment in there not being a championship or a champion on their shows every single week. Fox has done the same. And if you're going to then have him off TV for months at a time, then what are we doing here? Like, Cody was going to Raw and SmackDown. He carried this feud, and you reward him by having him lose and then get beat down by Brock Lesnar and giving Roman a 5-month break. Like, I'm very confused.
They're just not. I said that they rewarded the fans on night one, and now feels like they don't even think the fans are there. Like, with this, but it just makes no sense.
It's just, I don't know. I mean, like, it's funny because I think back to his feud with Brock Lesnar, and one of his main talking points was that he was a part-time champion and he was never there, and like blah blah blah. And I'm like, you've become what you hate. You've become what you hated. That's exactly who you are. Because David said that's what he wanted in his contract. That's wonderful. But then take the fucking things off of him, because it's not cool. They haven't elevated the United States Championship that much, the way that the Intercontinental is.
It's not there yet.
So you can't say that the United States Championship is going to be like a placeholder at this point, because it's not. Like, nothing against Austin Theory. It's not his fault, but it's not at the same level as the Intercontinental Championship. So that's not going to hold us over until Roman decides he wants to come back. Not to mention, dude, how much time off do you need?
Yeah,
like, you've had so much time off over this past year.
I don't know what he's doing with the time off. Are you going to community events? Like, are you just training?
No, he's not doing, like, he's going on vacation and taking care of his kids, but it's like, but I'm sure you have like 3 nannies because your wife has to take care of 4 boys under the age of 5. Like, I mean, I understand, but like, what are you doing? Like, if you don't want to be champion, then don't be champion. You can't be champion and sit at home. I just think that's wrong and it's not fair.
It's not.
And
It's
it
not fair
makes
at
it
all.
not fun to watch. Like, I don't want to just be sitting here watching people fight for nothing. So, but then also the other thing that was revealed today is that apparently Charlotte is taking time off again. So she's gonna be gone for some time now. Apparently, I'm glad that this was clarified in the report that her leaving had nothing to do with Rhea winning the title, which I was like, that's very important that they put out there because then it makes it look like Rhea was just given the title because, oh,
Mhm.
well, Charlotte's taking time off, so we need to get it off her. Apparently, they made that decision before Charlotte let them know she wanted time off. But girl, you've been back for 4 months and you were gone for like 9 months or something. Why are you taking time off again?
I don't get it.
You're not even on SmackDown every week. You've barely wrestled. Like, I'm just so confused. Like, I'm not trying to belittle their schedule
No,
and
I
the
get what you
intensity,
mean. It's
but I mean, you were itching to come back. They brought you back early because Rhonda decided that she was going to take off the entire month of January. And they put the title on you. You didn't really do anything until Royal Rumble. And now you're like, all right, or I'm sorry, until Mania. And then you're like, okay, I'm leaving again. I'm going to go do a bodybuilding competition, allegedly. Like, girl, what? Bianca did that and she did a fitness competition and she didn't
yeah.
take any time off.
No, she didn't.
So why do you got to, Charlotte?
It's the old school mentality. I think it's just I don't.
It's just exhausting. I'm just like, you know. We already talked about Bailey. So the other thing is the latest update is apparently Jay White is not coming to WWE. That is the latest that he is not there. But I feel like that's another thing that like it's just changing by the week. Like one week it's like he's not going. The next week it is. The next week it's he's not. Like I'm not saying that it's true, it's not true, or it's impossible to happen. But at this point, if I were him, I wouldn't want to go.
No,
Not if Vince is around.
I think he probably caught wind of something and was like, I'm not. Like if Triple H was there, oh, they would utilize Jay White. Here's the thing too that I want to throw out there because I feel like people are forgetting about him. Where the hell is AJ Styles?
He broke his ankle, so he's been injured. But
how long ago was that?
wasn't that in like I don't know. It's been a while, but it
That's
does.
what I'm saying.
Because of that bone though. It's like I feel like it was like in December or something.
So it's like a legit injury thing where it's like he would be
Yeah, no,
back,
he
but like
legitimately broke his ankle at a house
okay,
show.
okay. I just didn't know, and I miss
Yeah,
AJ Styles a lot.
no, I know. But I broke a bone in my foot in 2017, I
Mm-hmm.
think. And it's something that still bothers me to this day. So,
Really?
yeah, it like depends on if I'm sitting, if there's too much like weight on it, like if I'm sitting, you know, I don't know
Like
the I
pressure?
don't know the
Yeah.
PC term because how I always sit, but I always sit Indian style. I'm sorry, I don't know cross-legged. I don't know the PC uh adjustment name for that. But you guys know what I'm talking about. That's how I sit everywhere. Like no matter where I'm sitting, that's just how I
Yeah.
sit. And so if
Okay.
I sit like that with my right foot underneath my other leg, then it puts pressure on that bone because it was the furthest bone on the outside.
Okay.
So the fact that it's your ankle, I wouldn't be surprised if it's something that takes a little bit longer because obviously you have to put weight on it and that's going to affect it. So I don't know. I don't know if that's all the reason why he's been off, but I know that he broke his ankle, so it was legitimate. But
Okay.
yeah, I would have been cool to see him return last night. That would have been a cool surprise.
That would have been an awesome surprise.
Yeah, so I wouldn't rule out Jay White. I just think, that's
I
just
thought
the
we were getting
latest.
pretty deadly last night. I don't know why. I thought I was feeling it.
And yet we got nothing, We got Matt Riddle.
We got Matt fucking Riddle. Okay, bro.
And then the other thing we wanted to talk about was
Yeah.
Um, an LA Knight and Bobby Lashley segment was axed from Mania Night 2.
That is the biggest travesty of the entire weekend. More
And for
more of a tragedy than this.
What kind of deranged Woodstock damaged ding dong names their son Los Angeles Knight?
we haven't.
Where were you? Where was he?
Apparently he's still ill. I don't know what. I haven't heard any more details, but
Bray, I miss you.
yeah. So
Knight.
apparently LA Knight was supposed to be at Mania, and they decided to cut it and instead put Bobby Lashley out there with his Andre the Giant statue trophy, because that was definitely what people really wanted to see instead of LA Knight. That is
trophy.
one of the biggest mistakes that they did. And of course it was on night 2, and of course it was probably a Vince thing, because don't forget he changed LA Knight into Max Dupree, so he's not going to be like, oh yeah, let's put LA Knight out there. No, he's pissed that he's back to being LA Knight. It's just
it's so fucked. It's so,
with this kind of stuff though, like it makes me wonder how he lasted as long as he did doing anything with WWE creative. Like, how did the company stand as long as it has been with him doing shit like this?
It's just like it's missing. It's just missing stars in front of your eyes. It's just being so, big picture. You're so big picture that you can't see what is in front of you.
Well, and it's
how
playing
you can grow that into being that.
Yeah. Thing. Well, and he's playing favorites. Like he likes who he likes, and that's it. He doesn't care about who is over with the fans and who the fans want to see, which is ironic once again, because this entire business is based off of the reaction from the crowd and those that are watching at home. So it's very weird that he doesn't cater to that at all. Like, you can't do it for every single teeny tiny thing, but like the fact that you almost purposely go against what people are demanding to see is one of the most bizarre tactics I think that he's known for. It's almost like he's doing it out of spite. Like, oh, you want to see LA Knight? Well, fuck him. I'm not showing you. Like, oh, okay.
And that just doesn't make sense.
They didn't even have any LA Knight merch at Mania. Like,
his name is Los Angeles Knight.
But that new t-shirt they put out was cool. Like, I want one. That t-shirt is awesome. Like, that would have sold so much because it was probably one of the more wearable, like everyday wearable shirts that you could purchase that wasn't like in your face a wrestling shirt. So they really missed an opportunity there, but I don't know. We'll have to see, how SmackDown goes, and we'll have to pay attention to those or the news about if Vince is there.
I do have one thing I want to bring up because we were talking about her. So apparently someone tweeted last night that they were at Raw and they had a give Dana Brooke a chance sign.
Yes, I saw they took it away.
But she quoted and said, "This is so wrong, it will be addressed."
Yeah. Like, I saw the sign, but
I did too. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I gave a little laugh, like, hell yeah.
Well, and then it's like, but you took that away, but you didn't take away the sign of the guy wearing neon yellow with a sign that said F5 me. Like, it's just like the things that they ran, like they took away my signs before. We had signs that said bashing Cody Rhodes, and they took our signs away.
Why?
Because they well, first of all, that we were on the wrong side, but still, like, they took them away from us without even like giving much of an explanation or just trusting that we wouldn't do anything. Like, they don't give you any reason. I guess the guy said that when they took it away from him, that they said the production didn't want his sign on TV anymore, so that's why they took it. And he said he just was having a good time and he didn't want to put up an argument, so he just let them take it.
And there, you're in the moment. You don't want to.
Well, because they don't need any reason. They can take it away.
No. So. And if you fight more, then you're gonna get kicked out.
Yeah, and it's like, is that worth it over a sign?
Really not.
Like,
it's really not at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, at least she saw it, I guess. If he actually meant it, then, you know, someone he's a big fan of saw it and is probably going to be in contact with him and whatever. So, I mean,
More power
whatever.
to you.
Yeah. But anyway,
Anything
those were
else?
our thoughts.
No, I have spoken everything I had to. I let it all out on the yard.
I'm sure I
today.
haven't because I've been talking about it literally all day.
Well,
Whether
it's what we
or
got text for. I mean, you just
yeah,
got to let it out. That's why you have tweets, which
yeah.
you know you
I've
tweet
had,
it
but did you
out.
see? I tweeted that so many people unfollowed me on Twitter over this weekend.
All right, I've been there. I've actually had people like when I was in high school, like I was tweeting about WrestleMania, and they're like, "I'm gonna unfollow you. Like I just don't want to hear it." And I was just like, "Oh, okay." I'm not
I
gonna
didn't have people
not tweet
tell
about it.
me. And it's funny because people are like, why are you paying attention? It's like because you literally see how many followers you have every time you get on Twitter or when you look at your profile. It's like, I just see that the number is going down. And who
Let's see
cares
how
if I
many.
check to see? I'm just curious because sometimes I don't see who's following me. And
I'm
sometimes it's
building a
someone,
brand here.
well, and sometimes you want to follow back someone that you didn't see follow you or whatever, right? So I just noticed I lost like 20 followers over the weekend. And I was like, guys, I'm allowed to have other interests than just the Patriots. Like,
Yeah,
and for a long time, that's all I talked about was the Patriots. But like, I'm allowed
and
to
that
talk
can
about,
get you gotta broaden the horizons.
yeah. So but ironically, that tweet has then picked me up followers.
Damn right.
So it was like,
Damn
it
right.
was really weird. But
That's called karma coming back around.
yeah.
It got
So
you.
yeah, you
But
know,
yeah, so
we're
Twitter and
trying
all
out
that
here.
stuff, you
Mhm.
can, follow us. Give Sarah some followers back by following her at smarshxo. Follow me at pat_pits. Follow me on Instagram at pits35, Sarah at smarsh_. And then Sarah's YouTube channel. All right, we're crushing it. Sarah, you're crushing it in the YouTube game at Sarah Marshall XO, the YouTube channel, where all clips from our shows and streams are there. So if you do
And
not have
TikTok.
and I was getting there.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I don't know your TikTok, so I was gonna let
It's
you say it.
SmarshXO.
Okay, so all
I
right.
try to keep some
All right, well
consistency.
the momentum is ruined.
Sorry. I just pulled a U. I just pulled a U while I'm trying to do stuff at the beginning. The one time you have to do stuff at the end, I'm like, wait a second.
Wait a minute. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
I have them. Oh, there it is. Look at yeah.
There's my Divas Championship, y'all. You wanted to know where the Divas Championship went? It's with me.
It's Sarah took it.
It's
So now
still
we're
here on
both
my
champs.
desk from when you asked if I had it.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Which that will be. I did have an announcement. It is we're still working on it. Scheduling the day. And we'll get that, and then I'll tweet it out. Then you guys will know. And the only way to know is if you do what I said and follow us. So go do that. Do enjoy wrestling as much as you can. Okay.
For
Micah,
as
I
long
am
as you
gonna
can.
watch NXT. I'm gonna throw it on right now. And at least somewhere. So in the meantime, God bless. Remember that you can do it. All I gotta do is try. We'll see you next episode.